This client cashed out over $4 million in tech shares from their employer and made another $1.5 million from investing, but they still couldn't afford to buy their own home. I wanted to unpack this story because I think there's a valuable lesson here that people can learn, even if you don't have millions of dollars in your bank account. So these guys were not even 30 when we first started working together. They'd worked really hard to put themselves in the position that they were, but also got a little bit lucky in that the company that they both worked for ended up shooting the lights out with its share price. They were granted a bunch of shares in the early days, and they seriously cashed out as a result. They got a bunch of money from that. They then went and bought an investment property, built up a nice share portfolio on the side, and they made a bunch of money through both the property and the share portfolio. These guys, though, they really wanted to buy their own home, and the dream home that they wanted to buy was worth about $3.5 million, Sydney's eastern suburbs, and the properties just aren't cheap there, which makes it a really challenging thing to do financially for these guys. And I think it's the curse of having a lot of cash at a young age, that they wanted to keep a lot of options open to themselves, and all power to them, but they wanted to start a family. They also wanted flexibility around their work. They wanted to feel like they were financially free, and those things meant they needed to have quite a lot of cash actually behind them. So when we looked at the numbers to see that spending $3.5 million of the $5.5 million that they had in investments on their own home would mean that their actual wealth position was drastically reduced, and as a result they would then be forced to work in a company where they were making solid incomes, and that was just not consistent with the flexibility that they wanted and the family plans that they had in place. We sort of agonized over the decision, and it was one that just didn't make a lot of sense to me, because you think that someone in that position, they should be able to do that, but reality is that there's an important balance that you need to find with your money between your overall wealth position and how much of your wealth you have tied up in your own home. Because while it's nice to have a nice roof over your head, your home is not anything that actually makes you any money until you sell it. And assuming that you always need somewhere to live, that means that it's never really going to make you any money while you're alive. So if you've got so much of your wealth tied up in your own home, it means that you've got very little left over in your actual investments, but it's those investments that give you income, that give you flexibility, and that mean that you're actually financially free. So when you're planning out your strategy, whether you cash out $4 million in shares from your employer, or you're just at the starting point trying to build up your cash and get ahead yourself, one of the really crucial things that you need to focus on is that balance between how much of your wealth do you want to tie up in your own home versus how much do you want to have in investments. When people think about their home, they think about, can I afford to make the mortgage payments? But you should be thinking about, can I afford to make the mortgage payments and pay off that mortgage and build your investments at a rate that is going to get you where you want to be when you want to get there. And if you can't do those things, both fund the mortgage payments and pay the mortgage down and build your investments, then it means that you can't afford your home right now. You will and can and will get there depending on what the numbers look like. But it is a matter of timing, and you need to get that timing right, because the right move at the wrong time is the wrong move.